Hello, contractors. This video is going to be about a recruitment budget. Okay. For a lot of you, this may be a bit foreign, but super, super important. And this applies to anybody at any level. One of the most overlooked expenses is what we are actually spending on recruitment. Now, why is this important? Okay. It's important because, first of all, we have to have a cost management plan in place. Cost management is tracking our significant expenses. Recruitment, by and large, is a very costly exercise. It goes alongside with marketing, and depending on where you are in the country, being in a labor shortage, you tend to spend a lot more than you're expecting to spend. I'll give you a good example. In my business, we spend roughly almost a quarter of our marketing budget is allocated to recruitment. Okay. These costs can very quickly get out of hand. And, it helps also for a number of other things that we're going to go over. So resource allocation. All right. Recruitment budget is super, super important for making sure you're getting as much opportunity out of what you're spending. Okay. So for instance, if you're going to, put all of your money into job boards and you're only getting a, 20% hiring rate out of it, that's not a very good investment, is it? Right? So again, getting back to a data-driven decision, we want to really be able to spread our marketing budgets to cover enough that we are actually looking at an ROI. Okay. And an ROI is super important. Just like with your marketing, you want to know how much does it cost me to acquire a new foreman? How much does it cost me to acquire, a new field staff member? Okay. Once you have these numbers firm, again, they're not always going to be perfect, but you have a really good idea. This really changes the game for you. So for me, for example, I know that it cost me roughly about $12,000 to replace a field staff installer. Okay. Well, I also know that the return on that investment is roughly about $100,000 net profit to my business. Okay. So we're looking at a pretty decent ROI, and that allows me to comfortably spend more than probably my competitors are spending on recruitment. Okay. But you can't make those decisions until you actually go through the process of budgeting for it and tracking the expenses. So what I want you to do is a very simple workbook assignment, and we're going to look at all the areas that we're actually spending money on this recruitment plan. Okay. That could be anything from your branding, referral programs, social media advertising, any other cost you can think of. All right. We're going to start off by creating a budget. And just like you would job cost, all right, we're going to job cost this as well. So if we say, hey, you know what, we think our total budget's between 12 and 14,000. All right. Again, we want to see how closely we get to that, because that's going to allow us to go back as well and look at, hey, you know what, I got it for 7. How did that happen? What were those steps? If you're not paying attention to these indicators, it's very easy to kind of slip by you. And, again, you may actually have missed a really good opportunity. Again, another really important part of this for companies that are scaling is really being able to plan and forecast ahead. Okay. We want to be thinking, good contractors think 90 days ahead. Anything happening today, really should have, been planned 90 days ago. If you're really practiced as a contractor, you get into this habit, and really good contractors can look even further out by planning and forecasting. So for example, if we want to take on XYZ workload, we want to increase our revenue by, $1 million. How many staff members am I going to need to fill those roles? Am I going to need a foreman? I'm going to need field staff. All right, let's get a budget allocated to that so that I know that my cash flow suits the growth and I'm not putting anything at risk. It also allows me, again, to get creative and bring down costs, right? This ultimately leads to optimization. Eventually, over time, you find the paths of least resistance, just like in marketing. Again, I know my exact cost per acquired customer. I know, I can pull levers. I can, put in, $3 or put in $1 here and get $4 back at the top. That's the exact same thing you want to look at for your recruitment plan. Hope this has been helpful, guys. And please make sure that we are completing our budget in our workbook. Thanks a lot.